Hello, and thanks for joining us for the Farming Today podcast. I'm Caz Graham, and in this episode, irresponsible dog owners are in denial about the damage their pets can cause to livestock.
We did some dog owner survey and it showed that 1 in 10 people said their dog had no recall, yet half of those surveyed were letting their dogs off lead in the countryside.
We'll have more on that from insurers NFU Mutual as the cost of dog attacks on farm animals increases. And we're out on the rounds with a cattle vet.
I mostly spend most of my time at the back end of animals.
And you love it, right? I can
really
tell
love
that
it.
you love your job.
I do love my job.
But we start this morning with hedges. Now, hedgerows are an intrinsic part of our countryside. Used to divide fields, they also help prevent soil erosion, tackle climate change and improve local wildlife. But the post-war drive to intensify agriculture meant that many were ripped out. And over the past couple of decades, farmers have been encouraged and helped to put them back in. More than 200,000 new hedgerow trees are being planted this winter as part of the campaign to protect rural England's Hedgerow Heroes initiative. BBC South East's Chrissie Reidy went along to see planting at the Birling Estate in Kent.
In a muddy, wet field just off the M20, a group of volunteers are busy digging. They're planting hedges as part of Hedgerow Heroes, a project run by the charity Campaign to Protect Rural England.
Today we've got a group of volunteers. They're here with the North West Kent Countryside Partnership, which is one of our delivery bodies.
Andrea Griffiths is director of the charity.
And they're planting a mixed native hedgerow all the way along here. So this is part of CPRE's Hedgerow Heroes project, which is happening all across the country. There's about 13 different county branches involved this year. Kent's involved for the first time, so I'm really, really thrilled because I love a hedgerow. Overall, this year, across the country, we're hoping to plant 26 miles towards the overall target of 100 miles by the end of the year. So it's been happening for a few years. The Kent team, I think we're doing just over 3,500 metres across 19 different sites in Kent. So this is just one site. There's another site happening today. It's happening all month. Lots of hedgerow planting. It's fantastic.
Across England, more than 200,000 trees will be planted by the charity's Hedgerow Heroes project this winter.
I'm Alex Hodges from Medway Valley Countryside Partnership. We're planting about 6 different species of hedgerow. We're planting hawthorn and blackthorn, hazel, spindle, and I think crabapple as well. So these are key species that provide lots of resources to wildlife. I'm hoping by the end of today we'll get all the way down this row, and this will connect this hedgerow that's already existing with the hedgerow near the end of the field.
So far, Hedgerow Heroes has restored 66 miles of hedgerow across England since 2021. Here in Birling, near Westmoreling, a team of 10 volunteers are planting on what used to be a cattle farm.
It used to be a mixed farm, so there would have been a dairy herd back then when I was very small, which my father looked after.
Guy Neville is steward of the Birling Estate.
Where we've got a number of these old fence lines that are sort of slowly rotting away, we're starting to rip all of them out and replace them with hedgerows. And the advantage of that is then you get this fantastic habitat that goes back in its place.
Is this costly doing this?
No, well, fortunately, this is the fantastic thing about this section of hedgerows, that CPRE are funding it. So that enables us to get on with this piece. And then we're getting some stewardship funding for some of the other areas. So mostly at the moment it's being funded, which is great. So it gives us the opportunity to get it in, and then we look after the management after that. But it's part of a bigger thing. So we've got there's 3 of us who run farm clusters in North Kent. We've got all 3 farm clusters together to create a landscape corridor called Chalk to Coast that runs all the way from here to the Isle of Sheppey. And across the North Downs onto the estuary, Thames estuary.
Oh, wow.
So what we're trying to do is encourage people within our farm clusters and across the whole of the corridor to do more things that benefit connectivity for different species.
So far today, volunteers have planted 30 trees on this estate, but there's still a long way to go.
It's going back to old school. I mean, hedgerows are a wonderful thing.
Michael is one of the volunteers here.
It's a great big project, and it's going to have a great impact in Kent as well. You know what I mean? You can't really, and I love being part of it.
While restoring hedges is the focus of this project, it's also about the benefits of connecting people with the countryside.
So why do you want to be out here? In the cold and in the rain and in the wet?
Don't rub it in. It's nice to be outdoors, isn't it? Once you retire, it's better to be out being active and doing something useful than sitting indoors watching TV, I suppose. And although it's not raining now, so it's not that bad a day. We've had much worse.
That's the spirit. Chrissie Reidy was out with some hardy hedge planters in Kent. Now, the closest most people come to a livestock vet is watching one on the telly. James Herriot's antics in All Creatures Great and Small were appointment viewing for our family back in the 1970s, and the new Channel 5 TV adaptation gets consistently high viewing figures. It's recently been recommissioned for another 2 series. Well, we're talking about farm vets all this week, and it's interesting to compare the role of a current farm vet with that rather nostalgic view from the 1940s. Farmers and vets now work closely together to maintain and improve the health and welfare of stock. And with spring lambing and calving just around the corner, vets are gearing up for a busy time. Marie Lennon has spent the morning with Bea Yates from the George Vet Group in Wiltshire. She's also a board member of the British Cattle Veterinary Association.
We are at Kington Down Farm, which is at West Kington, just sort of west of Malmesbury, on a farm that calve about 100 stabiliser suckler calves a year. I'm the vet for this farm and I'm here reasonably often. They don't like me to be here too often.
What have you got to do here today?
Today we are checking an animal that Ed thinks might still have both of his testicles, and he's not supposed to have his testicles, so we're just going to check whether he does or not. We might take them off, we might not. It depends what the plan with that animal is.
Ed, your relationship with the farm vet, how important is that for the day-to-day running of the farm?
Very important. Things have changed a bit. We have quite an informal, I would say, relationship in the sense that I can send Bea some pictures or some videos. We can talk about things without necessarily having to always formalise it with a visit. We have the vet, I think, on farm more now than we did 10 years ago, but it's more preventative and more sort of fertility work and footwork and things like that.
It's not for emergencies.
Even illnesses or fouls and things like that. You know, we're doing more stuff to try and prevent that in the first place.
The yoke shuts on their neck and then they're safe in here then. I can get to the back end. If I need to get to the back end, I can open this and get into them at the side. I can come in here, examine head. I can go around the other side. So you can basically get to all sides of the animal. Today we'll be scanning heifers, so I'll be at the back end, scanning and then checking the animal testicles. I mostly spend most of my time at the back end of animals.
And you love it, right? I can
really
tell
love
that
it.
you love your job.
I do love my job and I feel very lucky to be able to do my job. I think sometimes I do have to remind myself of that when it's blowing a gale and you're outside and I'm up to my armpit in the back of a cow. But these farmers are producing our food and we're there helping them do that and ensuring food security, safety of the food chain. That's really important to me, that you're part of something big.
You're a kind of confidant as well, aren't you, sometimes?
Definitely. And there are some farms where I'm there every week or I'm there every 2 weeks. And, I spend more time with some farmers than I do with my friends. People will open up to you and often, I might be the only person that they see that week or the only person that there's 2 hours, to talk to somebody that will listen. And that's really important too. There's a lot of extracurricular chat that goes on that isn't necessarily farming related, being open with each other and leaning on each other when you need to, I think. These girls are all in calf and will be calving starting in the next month.
While these girls are munching away, you've got interviews today for the next in your graduate scheme. So are you finding there are lots more people that want to do your job?
Yeah, which is really gratifying. And I think that probably sort of 20 years ago, the idea of farm vetting was quite different to what it is now, and the thought of being out in the middle of the night in the cold puts people off, understandably. You're never going to get away from the 3 a.m, can you come and help me calve my cow call? That's always going to be there, but I think everybody is trying to move away from that to a bit more of a sort of collaborative approach. Certainly if you go on dairy farms, there's a lot of automation and innovation that's gone on dairy farms in terms of robotic milking, robotic calf feeders, there's apps and computer programs that can help you provide all this data on the health of your herd, and that's a really exciting angle as well for farm vets that I think wasn't there 20, 30 years ago.
And with your bull, what would you do? Into the race to have a proper good look at him?
Yes, depending on the age, the size of the animal and the state of the testicles, we would take them off. Ed has provisions here to keep an animal with testicles separate from heifers that he can get in calf. So we decided we're probably just going to leave him because he's quite old actually. So we're going to be kind.
So you're happy. Ed's happy. You're happy with the animals that you've seen today.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think if you're a farmer and you're trying to run a business, the most easy way to be profitable is by having a herd of really healthy animals. That's what we're doing as vets, really. That shared goal of happy, healthy cows or sheep or whatever is really important.
Vet B. Yates, ending that report from Marie Lennon. Livestock worrying cost UK farmers nearly £2 million last year, a 10% rise from the year before. Farm insurers NFU Mutual, who've published those figures today, say that's in spite of many dog owners believing that their own dogs are incapable of injuring or killing farm animals. Next month, a change to legislation in England and Wales will give the police additional enforcement powers and bigger penalties for irresponsible dog ownership. Well, as we've documented on this programme before, dealing with the aftermath of dog attacks on livestock can be extremely traumatic as well as financially damaging for farmers. Hannah Binns is NFU Mutual's Rural Affairs Specialist.
They're incredibly devastating. As a sheep farmer myself, we've heard reports where livestock have drowned, they've suffocated, they've been run over, they've been chased off cliffs, they've had limbs torn off, all because of out-of-control dogs. I don't think people tend to realise that chasing can also cause just as much damage. It puts unnecessary pressure and stress on sheep and can result in miscarriages, as well as separate young lambs from their mothers. It's not just a financial hit on a farmer, it's all the emotional aspect that comes with the aftermath as well.
Just looking, say, for example, at the southeast, there's been a huge rise there of 137%. Any idea why that might be?
Yeah, so there's various reasons why the cost may have risen. We might see more incidences reported there, livestock valued at higher rates, or, larger scale claims reported to us. Sometimes we get cows as opposed to sheep. But the fact that it has gone up so much is incredibly alarming. And it's why we're urging responsible dog ownership.
Many schools are on half term this week. Lots of folk will be enjoying walks out in the countryside with their family pets, but many people still don't put their dogs on a lead. Why is it so important?
Ignorance isn't bliss when it comes to livestock worrying. So we did some dog owner survey and it showed that 1 in 10 people said their dog had no recall, yet half of those surveyed were letting their dogs off lead in the countryside. Now that's incredibly alarming, especially as you mentioned, half term with people out and about. These places are people's they might be idyllic, but they're also places where people work and make a living. So it's so important that people are responsible and keep their dogs on leads wherever livestock may be nearby to prevent these horrific crimes from happening in the first place.
And it's interesting as well, isn't it? Because some people, they can't believe that their own dog could damage livestock. What can be done to kind of change that mindset, Hannah?
Yeah, we've heard of instances where farmers have said, the dog owner is as shocked as the farmer is that this incident has taken place. But I think it's so important to remember that all dogs are capable of chasing, attacking and killing livestock, regardless of their breed, size or temperament. And that's why it's so important that you do keep your dogs on leads wherever livestock may be nearby. You can never predict what your dog is going to do.
The police in England and Wales are going to have enhanced powers to address dog attacks on farm animals from the middle of next month. It's something people have been lobbying for a long time. How confident are you that those changes will make a difference?
After years of industry campaigning, we're really pleased to see this legislation coming into force next month. It strengthens police powers, but the onus ultimately remains on the dog owners to stop the attacks from happening in the first place.
Hannah Binns from NFU Mutual. And that's all we've got time for this morning. I'm Caz Graham. The programme is produced by Sarah Swadling and Farming Today is a BBC Audio Bristol production.